The rain came down hard that night, cold and relentless, drumming against metal and asphalt like a countdown to something irreversible. Under the harsh white floodlights of an abandoned industrial yard, an elderly man sat trembling inside a rusted steel drum, his bare shoulders slick with rain and fear, his arms wrapped desperately around a German shepherd whose body shook just as violently as his own. The smell of wet cement hung heavy in the air, thick and suffocating, as a concrete truck rumbled closer, its chute slowly lowering like an executioner's blade. What none of them realized, what would change everything, was that somewhere in the darkness beyond the fence, a man trained to never look away was already running toward them. Before the story goes any further, take a moment right now. If you believe in kindness, in second chances, and in standing up for the powerless, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who needs hope, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps stories like this reach the people who need them most. The old man's name was Harold Whitman, a retired dock worker who had spent 40 years lifting crates and fixing broken machines along the coast. His body carried the marks of that life. Bent shoulders, scarred hands, a spine that ached with every breath, but his heart had never hardened. After his wife passed away and his children drifted into their own distant lives, it was the dog who saved him. Max had been a trembling rescue puppy once, abandoned near the docks, all ribs and fear. Harold took him home, fed him scraps at first, then proper meals when money allowed, and talked to him every night like he was still talking to his wife. In return, Max became his shadow, his guardian, and the reason he woke up every morning. The trouble began quietly, the way it often does. A stretch of land near Harold's small, weather-beaten house suddenly became valuable. Developers wanted it. Permits moved fast for some people, slower for others. Harold refused to sell. He didn't want money, he wanted the memories, the porch where his wife used to sit, the path Max ran every morning. Complaints started appearing, noise complaints, trespassing claims, accusations that made no sense. Then the cops came. Not the kind who nod politely and explain, but the kind who smirk, who linger too long, who make it clear they expect compliance. Harold stood his ground, shaking but stubborn, Max growling low at his side. That defiance sealed his fate. On the night it happened, they told him it was routine questioning. They didn't read him rights. They didn't let him bring his dog. When he insisted, one of them laughed and said the mutt was evidence now. Harold was driven past the station, past the city lights, into the industrial outskirts where no one listened and no one cared. His heart pounded the whole way, not for himself, but for Max, who whimpered in the back seat, confused and terrified. Now, in the rain, those same men stood watching as if they were spectators at a show. They joked with each other, their uniforms darkened by water, their faces relaxed with the confidence of people who believed they were untouchable. They had tied Harold's wrists loosely, not enough to escape, but enough to remind him he was powerless. Max pressed against him, ears flat, eyes wide, sensing the danger in a way no human explanation could capture. The concrete truck's engine growled louder, and Harold's breath came in short, panicked bursts. He tried to think of something, anything, that could save them. He thought of his wife's laugh, of the first night Max slept curled against his chest, of all the mornings he'd believed tomorrow would be just another simple day. He whispered prayers he wasn't sure he believed in anymore, his tea. What Harold didn't know was that fate had already shifted. A mile away, moving fast through the rain, was Chief Petty Officer Daniel Cross, a Navy SEAL on leave who hadn't planned on being a hero that night. He had taken a wrong turn while driving, his mind heavy with memories from overseas, faces he couldn't forget, missions he couldn't talk about. When he heard shouting over the storm, when he saw the unnatural glow of floodlights where there shouldn't have been any, instinct kicked in before thought. Years of training had taught him that silence in the wrong place often meant something terrible was about to happen. Daniel parked, cut his lights, and moved on foot, rain soaking his clothes as he slipped through shadows. From behind a stack of shipping containers, he saw everything: the truck, the cops, the old man in the drum, the dog. His jaw tightened, something dark and controlled rising in his chest. He had faced enemies in war zones, but there was something uniquely vile about watching people sworn to protect the innocent prepare to murder an elderly man and his loyal companion. He didn't rush in. He watched. He recorded. His phone captured the faces, the badges, the laughter, the slow, deliberate lowering of the concrete chute.
He counted breaths, measured distance, waited for the precise moment when action would mean survival.
As the first heavy wave of wet cement began to slide forward, Daniel moved. The sound came first, a sharp crack of thunder that wasn't thunder at all, but the impact of force meeting bone as one officer went down before he could even turn. Chaos exploded instantly. Shouts, slipping boots, sudden fear replacing arrogance. Daniel was everywhere at once, moving with a speed that felt unreal, disarming one man, dropping another, his presence overwhelming and precise. The rain masked his footsteps, the darkness hid his approach, and within seconds, the scene had shifted from execution to reckoning. The concrete chute slammed shut. The truck engine cut off. Hands went up. The ones who laughed moments before now begged, their power evaporating in the face of someone who was not impressed by badges or threats. Daniel freed Harold first, his movements gentle now, his voice calm as he lifted the trembling man from the drum and guided Max out with him. The dog didn't leave Harold's side for a second, pressing close, still growling softly as if daring the world to try again. Sirens came later. Real ones. News vans followed. What had been meant to disappear into concrete became impossible to bury. The footage spread fast. Names were named. Histories unraveled. It turned out Harold wasn't the first. He was just the one who survived. In the days that followed, Harold sat in a hospital bed, warm and dry, Max curled at his feet, finally sleeping without fear. Volunteers came with food, with blankets, with legal help. Strangers sent letters, donations, promises that he was not alone anymore. Daniel visited once, quietly, standing at the door longer than he needed to, nodding to the old man before leaving without ceremony. He didn't want thanks. He just wanted to know they were safe. The land deal collapsed. The house was protected. The officers were arrested, charged, stripped of everything they thought made them powerful. Harold learned that even at the end of a long, hard life, something unexpected could still happen, something that reminded him the world wasn't only cruel. Some nights, when the rain returned, he still woke shaking, but Max was there, solid and warm, and the fear no longer owned him. If this story is touching you right now, if you feel that tightness in your chest that comes from seeing cruelty answered by courage, please take a moment near the end of this video to like, share, and comment. Your engagement helps keep stories of justice and humanity alive. And before this story ends, I want to ask you something special. Please comment below with a single word that represents what you felt while listening: hope, anger, relief, faith, or kindness. Those words matter more than you know. Because somewhere out there, right now, someone feels as alone and helpless as Harold did in that rain-soaked yard. And sometimes, knowing that others still believe in doing the right thing is enough to keep them holding on.